Le Mans sadly has claimed a lot of people over the years, and in one of my first Le Mans, some poor French kid went over the top of that barrier right on our right now, and he was in an open top car and got decapitated. And I remember that had a big impact on all of us. Sadly, don't know his name, and it's just resigned to history now, but Le Mans is very, very vicious in that way. Okay, you're positioning yourself right now for the Porsche curves, and in prototypes, the speed that they approach this is mind-numbing. You sweep through here, the high downforce cars just are glued to the road, and it's absolutely critical to be millimeter perfect all the way through here. There's a whole group of cyclists up there ahead. In a GT car, there's quite a lot more movement. Let's jump out. So this is the top of the Porsche curves, and once again you leave the public road and enter onto the purpose-built racetrack. And you know, it's amazing how narrow it is when you drive here. Obviously it looks very, very narrow, and it really focuses the attention, but it's so important to be millimeter perfect through here. And I always liken it must be like doing the Cresta run in a toboggan. You know, when you're actually committed to a line, you're committed to this incredible velocity between these walls, and we have seen some bloody big wrecks. If it goes right, it's gorgeous. If it goes wrong, it's, oh, you rattle off the walls. But you can see they've got safe barriers all the way down the side. That's good to know. Things as a driver you would never really see unless you come and walk the track. And you start these Porsche curves here and you make a commitment as a driver. But the trouble is, I remember when in the GT cars, when the prototypes were behind, they would go by you either way, left or right, unless you totally committed to your line. So yeah, be decisive about where you are on the track. Let's see if we can walk down a bit. That's cool. Well, that shows you something from the old days. There's one of the original marker points. Of course, the old circuit, which was mortalized by Steve McQueen, is actually over there, the other side of this. Do you know what? I've never been out to this part in years, and it really is a great reminder of quite how tight the Porsche curves are. What a demand they really do put on driver and machine. Just look at that, the way it tightens up there. No wonder if they have any form of mechanical or any form of contact with another car, they go pew, straight off into the gravel, or even worse, there on the right hand side. This is actually, for me, one of the toughest corners on the track. Actually, I think it is the toughest corner for me, because it tightens up. It's the last right-hander of the Porsche curves, and it's also slightly off camber, and the prototypes are right up your derriere through here. But do you remember, if you watched the show last year, this is where Magnussen had his crash, just up there on the right. Easy to do. God, you can see why. When you watch it on TV, you're probably sitting there having a beer on your Easy Boy or whatever, going, God, why did they wreck? Well, you get it wrong through here and you really do bite the dust. But this is what I like about this moment on your lap. If you're doing a really good lap, you know you put it together, you know on your dashboard that you're ahead in each sector, and you really only have to hold it together, and you can't really mess that one up. You can still get it wrong here. I think this is very, very tricky the way it's off camber. But the coolest thing is you've been in pretty much complete darkness out there in the middle of the night. That whole Mulsanne, Indianapolis area is really dark. But as you get to here, you see this beacon of light, and you see the Ferris wheel there, all the hospitality units, and the end of the big ACO building with the race control in, and you can see it, this whole thing is lit up, and it's like, it looks like you're looking at Le Mans from outer space. And it also kind of gives you hope that you're going to finish a great lap, or if you've had a really shitty lap, you're thinking, thank God this one's over and I can start a new one. I love this part of the track. Are you kidding me? They've caught me up again. Well, I've been yakking on. I'm really impressed. I am. I should have bought like a cup of tea and a bicky. Fucking hell. You're doing really, you're going a hell of a pace. This is a good lap.
I'm on the limit.
You're on the limit?
Yeah. Sandbagging.
Sandbagging. They have done really well. That is over 7 miles right now. I would join them, but I'm feeling I've got a bad everything. Let's keep walking. Yes, that is the way he treats the track. Look at him. Believe it or not, that is not the only thing Billy is not going to hit this week. How are you, mate?
The announcer.
Feeling good?
Good.
You ready?
Yeah,
yeah. I'm just doing my little one.
Awesome.
Here we are. What do we think? What do we think? It's ready, right?
The new
Track.
building?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think it was like it's definitely safer, but didn't.
Do we need it?
Didn't. Yeah, exactly. Didn't think we needed it. And during our drivers meeting, somebody voiced their displeasure with it and recommended putting gravel back here. So
Well, do you know what? Then that person will serve a penalty at some point during the race.
yeah.
All right. Well,
No,
cool.
it's just testing the structural integrity of the floppy.
This is what happens when you have American drivers in France. It's basically what happens.
We don't have floppies.
We don't have floppies.
No.
All right. Well, have a good time out
Thank
there.
you.
All
Good
right.
to see you.
Nice to see you. Nice to see you. We'll be watching.
All right. Sounds good.
This is what Billy was talking about. The new asphalt here used to be straight onto gravel, but now obviously made it a lot safer. But it also has increased the track limits, as Brian Till will love to talk about during the broadcast. And of course, by this stage of the lap, you know either you're on a hero lap, which is going to go down in history, or it's one that you want to forget. It's also your moment to choose to come into pit lane. That's why standing here right now is so privileged. This is a unique spot to be, because in a very short few days, it's going to be absolute chaos right here, because this is the active part of the racetrack. This is pit lane entry as they come shooting in here. It's really tough to get down to the 60 kilometers an hour, which you can see just over there. Look, that is the 60 marker. And you've got to try and get that car slow down. Can you imagine what it's like in a top GT car or one of those prototypes, trying to slow your car down after having been going well over 200 miles an hour on the Mulsanne and trying to hustle it all to a close here? You just don't want one of those penalties going into pit lane. And of course here, right here, this is the actual racetrack as you come through this left, right, left sequence, trying to run the curbs. The curbs are pretty violent actually over there. Actually, just come take a look. Come and look at these. All the paint is absolutely perfect right now, which it won't be for very long. But just take a look at this. Running the curbs is of course a way to shortcut the circuit and try and get an extra few tenths. But what they've done, this is absolutely genius. If you hit that red one there, I think you're going to do some real damage to your car. Here at Le Mans, they definitely don't want the cars to try and get that little advantage coming onto the start-finish line. And just take a look at that. You've just done a lap of the one and only Le Mans circuit in Les Sarthes, and I have to say, every time you come by here with only 10 or 12 laps in an hour, every lap becomes very meaningful. I have to say, I'd rather have my helmet with me this week. Maybe next year? I'm a silver next year. Someone. A job, maybe. I'm really not supposed to be up here, but this is it. This is what it's all about. Last time I stood here was in 1998. That's quite a long time ago now. But I have to say, I remember it well. I remember, well, 95 with my dad in the McLaren, 98 in the Viper, winning our class GT2. Standing here, I came to the front, put my hands here, looked down on what seems to be hundreds of thousands of people, about 70,000 of them English, and they're all cheering your name, and oh, you're emotional, over emotional, you're that tired. And I must say, I could see friends, James, I could see my girlfriend, I could see everybody there, and my dad, and I remember thinking this will maybe never happen again, but it also made me think it wouldn't be a bad thing to be a dictator. I know why they love the power rush, but I tell you what, standing up here brings it all flooding back, and of course, that's what it's all about. Are you going to Are you going to overcome at the 24 Hours of Le Mans? Are you going to be there at the end? If you finish this race, it's a victory. If you get up here, you've done something really special, joined a very unique club. Anyway, I better go before I get thrown off, because I'm not wearing a race suit this year. Hope you enjoyed the tour.